Leave that. We'll talk about that first. We'll start with that because that was fantastic.
Where'd it come from? I don't know where it came from.
No, shut up. Shut the fuck up. We're going to talk about it first.
Take two.
All right, what's up, everybody, and welcome back. Just like the Washington football team, we had to go through a small rebrand ourselves for the second episode. We're now going to be known as the Uncredentialed Sports Show, or for shortened, Uncredentialed. First things first, I want to welcome on our new producer, Jeremy. Go ahead and tell the people a little something for us, Jeremy.
Howdy.
Is that it?
That's it? Yeah.
All right.
The gray box speaks.
Jeremy says howdy.
I am the gray box. You listen to me. I know.
All right, on this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about Patty Mahomes' new deal. The MLB is coming back. All sports are really coming back. The NBA and their restart with the scrimmages going on. A little bit about Bowl. The Seattle with their new NHL team. And we're going to have a nice little skit from Jeremy at the end of the show in his first episode. But first of all, we want to talk about one really important issue in sports going on right now. And CJ, what is it?
A balloon. There was a balloon on opening day for the Dodgers that just came out of nowhere with no fans in the crowd. Just seen on ESPN, it came from a 4-year-old's birthday party.
Really?
Yeah, it's from 2 days ago.
Balloon.
No, it says 4 days ago.
The balloon is 4 days old?
Actually, hold on. Let me make this correct. It says, one of my birthday balloons got away today. I said it was in honor of Millie, my birth mother who passed away 4 days ago. So, yeah, there we go.
That was huge. I was watching the game. This was I don't know. I only watched 3 innings the first day of baseball. I didn't really care enough because I don't watch baseball. But seeing the balloon just pop down, the umpire and was it the second baseman just looking at it we got to get this out of here.
They're what the?
Yeah, and the ball boy runs out and picks it up. Everyone's just what's going on? Fantastic. Said we're going to go right into the NFL.
Perfect segue to Patty Mahomes' contract.
And we're going to talk about Patty Mahomes' new deal. 10 years, what is it, $503 million, $450 guaranteed, I believe. And we're going to go with opinions right out of the gate.
That's a couple of brink trucks. That's all I got to say.
If Patty Mahomes is listening, we will take that sponsorship dollars. You can invest in us any way you like. We'll be your biggest fans. We'll do your taxes. Official Patty Mahomes podcast. Cody, what are your thoughts?
I mean, he could have asked for a lot more and gotten a lot more if he wanted it. Honestly, there's really no price I think it would have been too great for him. I mean, I think it's worth it. The 10-year deal on it. I mean, who else is going to have a quarterback in that time? That was the best move for him to make. I mean, we all know that obviously the quarterback position is the most important in football. So if you got a guy like him who everybody's saying is going to be the best by the time that he's done in the NFL, I mean, it makes sense to lock him up for that long period of time. It's odd to see that length of a contract in the NFL, but when you had a guy, I think at that position that's usually has a pretty long life in the NFL world, especially protected right, which they're probably going to invest into offensive line in the future, I would assume. I don't see any problem with it at all. I think it's a great deal.
Man, once again, it's $500 million. I just want to make that clear. $500 million. Ridiculous. I think the deal, I don't know. I got mixed emotions, honestly, about this deal. 10 years, that's good for the Chiefs. And I get it. Patrick Mahomes is trying to be a team player. I probably would have only did a 4-year deal, 4 or 5, and then increase that next contract. That's just me, even though you can still make it team friendly, but you can't complain. 10-year deal, $500 million. It's ridiculous to me. I was actually looking it up because I was kind of curious how many players in the NFL had 5 years. There's only been 5 players, so you've had people like Mike Vick and Donovan McNabb, and it was kind of weird because they were saying no players ever finished out their team deal under that contract. So we'll see. There's no reason for Patrick Mahomes not to finish the length of that contract out as long as the Chiefs take care of him. He's an unbelievable talent. MVP and Super Bowl champ already. Hey, he got the bag.
Yeah, that's for sure. I see this through 2 ways. And the first way is through the player's eyes. And anytime a player gets money, I'm for it. Go out and get what you can. This is your career. This is how you make your money. So $500 million right there, or 450 guaranteed. That's your money. You earn that. And especially in the case of Patty Mahomes, he could earn more than that. But I looked through the team side. That's $45 million a year, depending on how it's structured. I haven't really looked at that yet. And that's almost like, what, a quarter of the salary cap for what it's going to be? Is it going to be 212 here soon? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah,
that's the right number or not.
But
that's almost a quarter of that. So I do think there's a little bit of cause of concern from the team because you're gonna commit to that for 10 years. If he does get hurt, let's say something happens, he hurts his shoulder in a couple of years, that could be somewhat an issue. I think having to pay some other players will be an issue. I could see them kind of going like a Patriot route, like stocking up on draft picks or going for the future so they can just get more guys in there, hopefully trying to find some more talent to surround them with. But I feel like that's going to be a problem going forward because, as you can see, most teams around the league right now are kind of going after that, like, win on the rookie quarterback deal and do what it takes to surround them with as much talent as possible. But when you got a guy like him who's transcended, way to earn your money.
The deal doesn't kick in for another 2 years. He's still on his rookie deal. And, like, from everything I'm hearing and even just, like, reading, like, it's still team-friendly. The only thing is, next 2-3 years they are going to have their left tackle that's going to come up, and I believe it's, like, their right guard. So, yeah, they got a good draft record, so they're going to end up cutting some guys, probably end up trading them and kind of doing that little Patriot thing where it's just, all right, we're not going to give this person another contract, but sign somebody else, get draft picks, and just plug people in. Look, they're great at the wide receiver position, and a lot of these players they just drafted, so they should be good as long as they do everything right and manage everything correctly.
You got to remember, they just signed Chris Jones to a 4-year, $85 million contract too, and that's $60 million guaranteed on that one. So, I mean, yeah, like the biggest thing, like with the Patriots route, I mean, what they do we talked about in the last one, what they do for so many years with Tom Brady, they kept Brady on. They try to make sure he had a good lineup from him, and they just put, average guys around him that he made good because he was just that great of a player, Tom Brady was. And yeah, so I mean, like Mahomes got great weapons right now, but I mean, I'm sure down the road that he's going to have some situations where he have to make some guys into good players like Brady did. I'm sure that Mahomes is going to be up for that challenge.
I think you can look at that, especially towards the later half of this deal when he kind of gets up into his 30s, he starts being a little bit less mobile. Because right now, I think Patty Mahomes has sneaky athleticism. To the point where he's really good at escaping the pocket. He's really good awareness and stuff like that, and he can carry out plays, and then he can launch the ball down the field. So, those speed threats like McCole Hardman, like Tyreek Hill, and Sammy Watkins a little bit, but they can really extend the play.
He's a possession. He's a good possession receiver.
I'm not sleeping on Sammy Watkins. I'm sleeping on Sammy Watkins is like the super speed threat.
No, he's not burner, but like the other two.
Exactly.
But,
I was saying like the speed threat like the other two. Well, I would have put Kelsey in there too.
He's not as fast as Tyreek Hill.
He's got like an 88 speed rating in Madden.
But I could see them eventually. Right now, they can put those speed threats in there because they're going to get open so quickly, and if the play does break down, they can run around and get open even quicker than that because he can launch it, 50 yards downfield and then also go from like one side of the field to the other.
Bazooka X Factor.
Yeah, but exactly.
He can throw
bazooka.
I don't care what Madden says. I definitely trust him more than I trust what's his name
Hardman?
with the Bills? No, with the Bills.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen.
Oh.
I think Patrick Mahomes has a better arm. I think that's crazy.
Yeah, who said he didn't?
Madden.
Nah,
it's true. Madden did say
Madden gave.
There's some things Madden
Allen
misses
a 99.
All right,
they both have cannons.
So sticking with the Chiefs here, Tyreek Hill went on social media the other day and said that he really wants to capture 7 Super Bowls and beat out Jordan. Those illustrious championships. So, do you think if this core of Patty Mahomes, Tyreek, and Kelsey on an offense, if they stay together, do you think they can get how many more Super Bowls do you think they can win?
3.
3?
That's an easy number. 3.
That's a safe number.
I don't see nobody being like the Patriots in another decade right now. They're just gonna have to prove it to me. I'll give them 3. Because I don't think they're going to win next year, if there's even a season.
Yeah.
But they'll definitely win at least one more with this core group, and then they'll have to throw in some new players somewhere.
See,
Patrick Mahomes.
I think it was funny. He referenced Jordan, chasing Jordan's 6. He didn't reference chasing Brady's 6. Like, he went to another sport. He wasn't even talking about Brady's 6 rings. That's what
Brady
kind of got
trolled
me.
that, didn't he?
Yeah, he trolled it. Yeah. He went on, I forgot what he
that.
said, but he went on there and trolled it. Yeah. But I thought that was kind of interesting, though. I don't think he's taking a shot at Brady, but I think it's interesting, chasing the Jordan 6 and not the Brady 6. So, no, I just thought that's interesting. I mean, like I said, it's like we talked about it. It took Brady how many years with the Patriots to win that many Super Bowls? I mean, it's going to take probably, I mean, if you're trying to win, what, 7 – I mean, when Mahomes got 2 more years on his deal, you got 12 years with this 10-year added on to it. You win 7 or 6 more in 12 years. It's tough. In the NFL, especially, you could do it like the NBA, but the NFL that's tough. Tough.
You can do it on Madden. You can't do it in the NFL.
Oh, I've done it on Madden.
No, I think of it. I think 3 might be the right answer. I think if you look at it, especially in the short term, I mean, with guys that they have around them, having Tyreek Hill, having McCole Hardman, having Travis Kelce, having Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think there's definitely – I mean, this offense is going to be the best in football for years to come. And I don't think anyone's going to doubt that for a while. I think it's going to be whether the defense can get it done. If you all remember a couple years ago, when the Rams made their Super Bowl run, there was that, incredible game where Mahomes threw, almost
Mahomes
500, 600 yards. Yeah, Mahomes v.
Goff.
Goff.
Showdown.
It was Mahomes threw 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions, and Goff threw 5 and 1. I mean, that was what was it? 50s score. Game was in the 50s. We hadn't seen anything like that.
Yeah.
It was the one game where America should have taken the over. But I mean, that's going to be the issue. Is are they going to be able to stop other teams? Because a lot of the times the NFL is time of possession. It is keeping your team off. And they can score so quickly that it's got to be. They got to learn to slow it down at certain points. Give the defense a break.
I feel like they have, though. When they need to, they'll slow it down. But, even the last game, the Super Bowl, they decided just to start airing it out, and you see how quick they just put up them points. Or even, I think they were down with the Titans, if I'm not mistaken, and they decided to finally just open up the offense, and game was over.
Well, they can rest a little assured that you got a transcendent talent at your quarterback position that can bring you back. I mean, Mahomes had to lead a comeback in every single game in the playoffs last year, lead to the Super Bowl. So
they're not going to be able to do that next year.
No, you can't rely on that, but yeah.
Yep. And we're going to segue a little bit and talk about this contract in a different way. And what does this mean for quarterbacks who are soon going to be up for extensions, such as Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson and a couple others that you can name off the top of your head?
Beep. That's all you need to know. The bag. It's not going to be as much as Patrick Mahomes. Deshaun Watson will be the second highest paid quarterback, in my opinion, now that Patrick Mahomes has this deal. And who knows what's going to happen with Dak. I'm starting to think he might not even be a Cowboy after this year. So he's definitely still going to get the bag no matter what as well. But they reset the market. Patrick Mahomes reset the market. Dak was trying to do that, but you can't really outdo Patrick Mahomes, especially what he's done in his first 2 years as a starter. Contracts are going to be ridiculous.
I think it's ridiculous that quarterbacks think that they deserve more than they're worth. This whole Dak thing, he's a good player, but it's been proven by his stats. He plays well against the crappy teams. He cannot come out and perform against the teams that are above 500, teams that are competing for actual Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. Guys Deshaun, I heard an argument the other day that someone said that you could plug in Deshaun Watson on the Chiefs and they would have just as much success, which I raised an eyebrow at. But I think Watson is deserving of a big deal. I don't think Dak necessarily is deserving of that big of a deal, at least not to be in the top 5. But you look at the top 5 right now. You got Mahomes, who's at about $45 million. You got Russell Wilson, who's at $35. Big Ben, for however long he's got left in the tanks, at $34. Rodgers at 33.5, and then Goff's at 33.5. And they got Cousins.
A boy.
Yeah. So I get it. Guys try to make their money, and I know Trev, you're all for players getting their money and stuff, but you gotta have some reason, man. You can't just be. You'll get paid by somebody eventually, and I think they know that. Dak knows if the Cowboys aren't gonna give him his money, he knows some other team will that's desperate to get a quarterback on their roster that can maybe change the way of their franchise. But if you're smart, take a little bit less money, stick on the team that you know well, that knows you well, that has weapons around you.
And just to sidetrack a little bit, if anyone heard that little grunt by me, I'm watching the Orioles-Red Sox game on
get off July the 20th. Orioles, man.
Gosh. And I think our right fielder just missed the deep fly ball, and it was a ground rule double with bases loaded. So the Red Sox are now up 7-0. So the Orioles are starting the season and already limping to the finish line. So
can we also point out that Jeremy has now changed his name to the box? Oh man.
Getting back onto this contract situation, yeah, I'm 100% for guys getting their money, but I also think there is a moment where you need to realize, what your money is.
You ain't that good.
and I'm kind of gonna rip into Dak Prescott here, but what have you done?
Exactly.
What have you done to earn more than $35 million?
Nothing.
No.
I understand that you've been to a Pro Bowl. I understand that you came into the league as a 4th round pick and you defied every expectation. But what have you done in the playoffs? What have you done in terms of accolades? What have you done to lead the league in? You need to understand that you getting $35 million is a good deal. That's going to put you in the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league. That is good money for you.
Number 3.
Take the money and run. Don't even think about it. Just go with it. I don't know what you're thinking right now, Dak Prescott. Take your money.
He couldn't even get his team to the playoffs last year in one of the worst divisions that football has seen in recent memory.
Mahomes got $45 million, and this dude's an MVP, a Super Bowl champion. And
Super Bowl MVP as well.
Yeah, and a Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, you haven't done anything nearly remotely close to that. Take your money and run. The Cowboys have already said they want you to be their guy. You knew they had to pay Amari. You knew they had to pay Zeke. They've already done the other 2. Take your money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amen.
I'm with you, Trev. Get your money, get all the money you want, but honestly, I don't even care. If Dak could hear this right now, you're not that good, Dak. I'm sorry. I've never played quarterback. I've never played in the NFL. But I will say you're not that good. He would not be my quarterback. I don't care how young he is.
Ooh, wow.
Wow.
Honestly, really?
Gotta be real.
You think he's outside the top?
I think he's decent. But I don't think he's think he's worth the money.
So right now, where do you think he is? You think he's top 20 in the league?
He's top 10.
You think he's top 10, but he's not that good to play on your team?
He's top 10.
CJ's building Super Bowl contenders here, Cody.
Top 10, I would have to look at all the quarterbacks and see if I put anybody else above him.
I kind of want to hear your top 10.
I just think he's a game manager. I don't see him as a real.
What's wrong with a game manager?
There's nothing wrong with a game manager, but game managers ain't going to win you a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. The last time a real game manager, I think, last one is Trent Dilfer.
Oh, come on.
No.
Who was the last game manager?
Dilfer just led the best defense ever to a Super Bowl. You can't say
and
Dilfer.
He was a game manager. Who else was a game manager that's won a Super Bowl?
In recent memory, Tom Brady, when he won his last Super Bowl, was a game manager at that point.
Yeah, but Tom
Peyton Manning in Denver not strike any
that's true, but most recently, Tom Brady.
I'm talking about somebody that's never even reached superstar status. He's only talked about this much because he's.
You want to keep going? We can keep going.
If he wasn't in Dallas, he would not be this.
CJ just digging, man. He digging.
Hey.
He's trying to dig himself out of that hole by digging deeper. Let's go.
I'm not. At me. I don't care. At me.
I like Dak. I think Dak is good. I think if I was the Cowboys,
too. I've had him in fantasy leagues.
Hold up. If I was Jerry Jones, I would have sat Amari, Zeke, and Dak in a room, and I would have wrote the number on the whiteboard. I would put $95 million, and I would say, this is for you all to split between the 3 of you all. You all figure it out.
You split this.
And they should have went like that. They should have figured it out. They know what their positional value is. They know each of them are going to get paid, so just sit them there and say, this is what you can get.
And Dak would have to take the least amount.
Oh, what?
I'm sorry. I'm being honest. Honestly, if they were smart, and I wish, because I'm a Lions fan, I wish Jerry Jones would just go take Matt Stafford off of our team. And
I'm pretty sure you wish anybody would take Matt Stafford off your team right now.
He could probably win them a playoff game.
I wish Matt Stafford would find a better home than Detroit, man. He deserves to have a chance to win somewhere.
Oh, my gosh.
I
kind of want. This is off topic. I kind of want to hear your top 10. I want to know where you have Dak ranking. I think he's a good quarterback.
We'll get to that. We'll come to that. You can put that out on a graphic.
Come back. We'll put on a graphic.
Jeremy, all right. Dak Prescott, top 10. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
The box says no.
The box said no.
I'm the sports ball guy.
All right.
Dak's not my top 10, but he's top 15.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the Washington football team. Recently changed their name. I'm going to go into a slight thing. I'm going to let you all talk just for whatever your initial thought about it is. If you think it's stupid, say it's stupid. I want to hear it real quick, and then I'll give my take.
I'm going to spend 20 seconds on it max.
Perfect.
I don't really care. I'm over this drama that they're in. I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb that you come up with a a temporary name that's not even a name. It's what every baseball organization has after their actual name, like the baseball club or whatever. It's Washington Football Team. Like it sounds like a club team, honestly. But I think it's dumb. Like you're not offending anybody if you leave the Redskins as your name until you figure out an actual name for your team in the next month or two. You already told people you're going to change it. That's good enough for them. I don't know why you had to go make this announcement to appease people who I don't think needed to be appeased in this situation. So I think it's dumb. But
isn't it a placeholder?
it is. It's a placeholder, but it's like unnecessary. Like why do you need it? You already said you're changing your name. People should understand it's going to take a little bit of time to figure out a new name for yourself. It's going to take a rebrand. Like that thing's just dumb.
I don't know. I think they could have found a better way just to say they're going to be calling themselves the Washington Football Club, but I'm pretty sure unless it's just a legal situation with getting trademarks, which I've heard Dan Snyder has trademarks for a lot of different other names that he just has, unless they ran out or something. Like, I'm pretty sure you could have came up with a name. There's a lot of good names out there. Red Tails, Sentinels,
Red Tails, baby.
Red Wolves.
I'm a fan of Red. I like Red Tails.
I've even heard Warriors. Like, there was names already out there. So unless you just couldn't get the trademark for them names, you should have been able to pick a name, honestly, already. So that's my
just leave it. Just leave it. Just leave it how it was. People know you're changing it. Like,
well, I don't know. I think it's more of like the FedEx, saying they were gonna suspend their stuff, and then Nike taking all their stuff down. If they did keep Redskin up, they were not gonna get no revenue from like jersey sales and stuff. So I think that was like smart for them, but they could have found a name.
So you're gonna make a bunch of merchandise that says Washington Football Team, and then you're gonna change it in like a month or two, and you have to make more.
That's what I'm saying. They should
Washington
have been able
Football
to
Club.
If they knew they were gonna change the name, they should have
Whatever.
found a name. Like
Yeah.
they could have found a name or something, at least better as a placeholder for now.
Yeah. So when I first heard this, and I was completely on the sense of like, this is one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life, just to call yourselves a football club and then to put a number on your helmet instead of, the old logo. And then the more I started thinking about it, I actually kind of get it now. And I actually think it's actually a smart move. And here's why. When you look at where they're at, and if we're going through a timeline of events here, FedEx comes out and says, hey, we don't want to be associated with the Redskins like in any of this issue like that anymore. We're paying for this, stadium rights or whatever. Then Nike comes out a couple of days later saying, hey, like, we're not going to sell any more merchandise saying that's a Redskin. It's an offensive name to Native Americans and whoever else wants to join that. And then you look at it from the perspective of, okay, now all this Dan Snyder stuff is coming out after they announced that they're going to switch. Getting the temporary name is it's maybe you don't like football club as it. I think this is so smart because now you're just getting rid of the Redskin things altogether. But when you come up with this new rebrand, you need to take time to make sure that this is right. So, yeah, if you're 1 year as a Washington Football Club, it may not be the most attractive thing to sell merchandise as, but at least you're going to do it right. I know that there is some trademark issues with some realtor in the Arlington, Virginia area who kind of had taken up Warriors, Red Wolves, Red Tails, all that stuff, like as soon as all this hit. He's trying to get himself a little bit of money. So I actually think this is really smart just to do it for 1 year or however long it takes to get it on then, because you are now officially done with the Redskins. You're never going to be called that again. There's not going to have that issue. And with Dan Snyder also going through this thing, it kind of like takes the pressure off of that. I don't know if you kind of noticed they had that sexual harassment like article come out from the Washington Post, and then he comes up and follows it up and saying, we're the Washington Football Club. Now that's the top news going on. And it kind of overshadowed that. So in a way, it kind of flushed away the problems of yesterday, and then it's ushering them in for tomorrow. And that's why I think it's kind of a smart move.
I think it only ushered in that and made that like the top news thing for them, for people that don't really follow the NFL. Like, I think anybody else that's really following the NFL, they're still like, all right, what's going on with this sexual allegation stuff?
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's still a big deal. But as far as like mainstream media, everyone was like, they're the Washington Football Club.
But now they just make themselves look more stupid. I don't know. Like, yeah, like
I don't really think
it might be legal issues with like trademarks and whatnot, but
I remember it was like when I looked at the report, it said like they had kind of figured out, like agreed on like some sort of name or something. And then like they were trying to figure out like numbers and like the negotiation for it. So I understand that this just could be a holdout. Maybe the guy who has the thing is trying to get a little bit more money at the end. I don't know. I'm still perfectly okay with it. Like, I know it sounds dumb. I know it's not the most attractive thing in the world, but it really does.
Talking about it's like worth a headline for me. I'm like, I just don't care.
Just doing it just to get everything else out, and you're going to be that for a little bit, and then you can. I mean, I think we got to talk about how important it is to get it right. If you put out a brand, if you rush to put out a brand and you put out something just completely awful, like, I don't know, like the Washington Federals, and everyone's like, what is this? You know, like nobody's going to like that. And then all of a sudden you're going to be stuck 2 years later with all this stuff, and you're going to have to go through it again, the whole process again. So make sure you get it right this time. It's easy for us to say, hey, we can go on Twitter, see this concept art or whatever that someone made and be like, oh, that's what they should do. But in reality, it's a lot harder to get all that stuff in place.
No.
So I think it's smarter for them to take the time to go ahead and get it done right.
Yeah. I just wish they would have just honestly, like, even if they didn't market it as soon as this year, I wish they would have been like, we do have a name, at least saying like we do have a name, we just aren't going to officially release it at least. And then you could have went with football club, because ultimately, like, for me as a creative graphic design, like, you want to make sure your brand is very popular and it sticks out. So yeah, when they launch this name, like, hypothetically, if they do something like Red Tails, they're going to have to do some stuff that's like real
Red
cool.
Wolves.
And they're probably going to have to, or even Red Wolves, whatever the concept is, like, you're going to have to do your research on it, either fan art, concept art, jerseys, all that, everything. So like, I get all that. It's just, I wish they would have said we do have a name at least.
I also want it to be known that if we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Seattle just released our NHL team as a Kraken. It had been 2 years since they had been known they were getting an NHL team before they released what their logo was. So this is kind of like a somewhat of a timeline of how much this process takes to actually figure all this out.
It takes a long time. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, the Redskins are going to try. Did I just hear the box?
Yes.
Ooh.
I'm interested in the resale market of all the Washington football team merch. Think of how much money you could make with those products.
Yeah, that's true. When they get rid of that stuff, people are going to remember the Washington Football Club, the one lone season.
Imagine if they were just amazing that season.
And speaking of the Washington Football Club, do we want to call it breaking news? Is this breaking news within the hour?
What you got?
We're going to call it that.
The return of Alex Smith officially being able to play. The $35 million man.
Oh, he's cleared.
He's cleared to play, cleared to resume football activities. I don't know if any of you all, did any of you all watch Project 11 at all? That was one of the most fascinating, stories that I had ever seen. And if you didn't get to follow it, I'm going to let CJ kind of sum it up for you. It was one of the most, surprising things. And the fact that he's able to play football again is really just incredible.
Yeah. So I watched it, and so basically we all know he suffered that injury, which coincidence, it was the same day Joe Theismann, if I'm not mistaken, or not Joe, somebody from the Washington Redskins, I forget what quarterback, when they got hit. So he suffered that crazy injury to his leg. He's gone through a lot of surgery. There is a possibility of him losing his leg. So what he started doing is he started rehabbing down, I believe, in Texas at one of the veteran centers, being around other military veterans, seeing how they go through these injuries, because they were saying it's not just a sports injury. It was like a trauma injury from what I remember. And so he's been, ever since then, it's been trying to get that leg back so he could even somewhat play football. And at one point it was more of, could he just walk on the leg and be able to keep the leg? And now for him to be cleared, that's major, honestly. So best of luck to him. If he can get back and to play in the NFL game, that would be an incredible story. Next thing you know, it's going to be a movie. Watch.
Yeah, I think this is one of those things. I don't think it matters if he ever plays another official regular season down. Just in the preseason, the hype that's going to come with it, the fandom that's going to go around seeing that, oh, there's no preseason. Tack on it. NFL. All right. But the fact that we're just going to see him play football again, he's going to go training camp, he's going to have, go and compete. But for those of you who are above the age of 18, because I'm going to say that's this is not safe for looking at, go ahead and Google what his leg looked like, because CJ kind of maybe skipped over this little detail, but the wound from where all the surgeries he had got infected. So they had to go through and take out all that muscle tissue that was around there, because it started eating up the rest of the thing. So they were like, listen, we got to get rid of this and cut this off before it spreads throughout your whole leg, and then eventually we'll have to amputate it. And it was to the point where around his shin, it was just bone. There was no tissue or tendons or there was just tendons around there, and it was unbelievable. I mean, just an unbelievable sight. And to see this dude had to get grafts from the other part of his body to put some more muscle around there, to the point where he's now being able to to actually compete. That's unheard of. Like this is Teddy Bridgewater-esque, and I feel like it may not get like the Teddy Bridgewater like story that came out with it, but this is just as big.
Yeah, if not bigger. Like I said, it wasn't. They said in that documentary, it wasn't even a sports injury. It was considered like actually what the words they used was a combat injury for those that suffer injuries like during a deployment, being blown up from an IED and whatnot. They're saying, yeah, it was a combat injury, not even a sports injury. So that's a pretty big deal because, like, I don't have any combat injuries, thank God, but, like, seeing some military members, veterans, I know combat injuries, they can be brutal.
Well, he rehabbed at a military center, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it was a veteran center down in
the NFL,
not Arlington, but Texas.
Yeah, the NFL gave him special permission to go and do that there because of the severity. Yeah, so that's unless Cody's got any comments, I think we can wrap it up with the Alex Smith Project 11. The comeback is coming.
All prayers to him, man. I'd love to see him get on the field. I think that he was a very underrated quarterback before that injury. I think a lot of people that actually watch football and know football agree. Like he didn't put the flashiest numbers and everything. He wasn't your top fancy pick or all that. But I mean, he won games and he had success for the most part wherever he was. So I'd love to see him back on the field.
Yeah. All right. So Box, what are we going to talk about next? MLB or NBA?
NBA.
NBA. All right. Perfect. NBA.
Flesh it out,
Yeah. All right. We're going to talk a little bit of NBA here. As you all know, or hopefully you all, if you're all on Twitter, you've been seeing that the NBA preseason scrimmages have been going on, or not pre-resume? Preseason resume?
Scrimmages, exhibitions,
whatever. Okay.
Scrimmages.
We'll just call them scrimmages. Has gone on going ahead, and we've started to see 2 days worth of action now, or 3. Are we on 3? We're on 3 days.
Yeah,
we're on 3 days of action right now. And what do you all think of the gameplay that's been going on right now? I know I have my opinions, and we'll get to that, but I want to hear what you all think.
So first, it's just cool to have the NBA back. Granted, no COVID test as well, no positive cases. But looking at the game, I don't know. It's kind of weird watching it. Like, I seen CJ McCollum go up for a dunk and get hung at the rim, and I was just like, oh, yeah, a lot of these players don't even have their legs yet. So it's kind of weird because, yeah, like, they took this break. Some players weren't even able to train. So you, like, see all the rush. You see certain players aren't there and whatnot. So it's something that's just going to have to take time to adjust.
The game, you mentioned guys just trying to get back in the swing of things, but it looks very slow at this point. It looks like I don't want to say all-star-esque, but it looks like, kind of like an all-star game. Like some of the guys are out there just balling out, doing their hardest and everything, like your first-timers, whatever. And then, the wily vets just kind of taking it easy, trying to get back in the swing of things. Like I said, I'm just glad to have it back. I haven't watched a whole lot of the scrimmages yet. I've seen some highlights and some of the guys, they're highlighting their new additions to teams and teams that are going without some of the good players and stuff. But, I'm not putting too much in these scrimmages right now. I think it's just a chance for people to kind of, get back in the swing of things, get accustomed to playing with their team again in active, game settings against other teams, other opponents, not your teammates. So, but it does look kind of slow right now, but obviously I think it will pick up in the next few days before they actually start the actual games on the 31st.
Yeah. So everything I know about it is that obviously bigger names are on minutes restrictions. My Orlando Magic, Mo Bamba's on a minute restriction. I believe Markelle Fultz is on one if he's even playing at all. Jonathan Isaac is not even playing. Probably not going to play this whole time.
I'm sure rest those Magic stars, the ones that are worn out. Your Mo Bambas of the world.
Kawhi is back on his thing. He's playing 5
Kawhi's
minutes.
always at minute restriction, man. No matter what the heck he's doing.
PG was on the same thing. So there are players like that. I've even seen where coaches have talked to each other about hey, this is what I want to work on for a little bit. We've seen a lot of zone going on in these games as well.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see a lot of 2-3 zone going on in the NBA, but I've seen a lot of it going on. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of guys who maybe have played in the G League or maybe have been playing are really kind of been deep rotation players who started to play more minutes. Again, with the Magic, they started James Ennis, who, not a major minutes guy. They started him last game.
What's up with you in Orlando, though? Nobody cares about Orlando.
That's my team, dog. That's my team. Why are you doing
this? He picks those underdog teams, man.
I don't pick. It was my first game I ever went to.
Your Orlando Magics of the
that's
world, your
nice and
Arizona
all, but-
Cardinals of the world, your Baltimore Orioles of the world.
Why are you all? It's just the first team I go see. Why are you doing
We're
this to me?
not hating. I'm not hating, man. I'm not hating.
No, I
You're
am.
good.
But this is.
Don't mistake me. I am.
I'm just gonna ignore that. Anyways, back to what I was saying. This is very sloppy basketball. You know, players are missing layups. Players are, defense is really rough. I noticed a lot of teams are doing drops and they're having trouble miscommunicating on that off of PNRs. I noticed there's a lot of switching action going on, and I saw Robert Williams look really confused earlier as like he wanted to switch and his teammate didn't. It was either Carson or Tremont Waters or somebody like in a really weird situation off ball. He was like pointing like 4 different ways, like trying to figure it out. So it's going to be sloppy, but this is kind of going back to what I talked about last episode is I think defense is going to be a big part of this. I think the team that comes out and plays the best defense once the actual 8-game season starts is going to have the most success. Granted, on top of superstar play like LeBron or Giannis doing like LeBron or Giannis things. Like if you can kind of control the defensive end of the game, I think you're going to have more success. But right now it's looking very rough. A lot of these dudes don't have their legs. As CJ said, some of them came in, didn't have, a couple of weeks to really train, especially if you got held out of the bubble for whatever reason, and that was your first time coming back. You may have only had a couple practices before you got to suit up. So it's definitely rough right now. I'm excited to see where the league goes. I kind of like the atmosphere of the games. How do you all feel about that? I kind of like the backdrop and everything going on. It looks really cool.
I think the NBA, they really took their time on trying to make it as close to feeling like a real game with fans. You definitely see the sound effects, they got music still going like you would during the game, and just even the fan noise cheering. It's cued at the right time. You hear them cheering or whatever sound effects. I think what they probably actually did was got the sound effects for each team. So whoever is the home team are going to get those sound effects just to have somewhat of a home court advantage, I guess.
Can we talk about how creepy it is that they have the live action fan thing going on where they put that up on all four? That's so weird.
I think
it's
cool.
So weird to have recorded fans just flipping out for no reason. I think they should just have music playing the whole time. Just let them kind of get in the flow of the game, bump out a little bit. But I don't like it when they're shooting the free throw and then you hear the yay or anything like that. I was not a fan.
That was pretty funny.
It was funny, but I don't like it. It was I don't need to hear that.
Who was it that they trolled on that one? Who was that?
Oh man,
I can't remember. I can't remember who it was. What team it was?
I don't know. There was another one that they did besides the. I lost my train of thought. I can't think of it right now, but I just don't. I don't know how I feel about it. I think just play some music, to the point where they can kind of just get in the flow of the game. I don't like that stuff. It's really awkward. I'm assuming even if you're the home team, it's still kind of awkward. But I do like the setup. I do like having the 4-sided thing on the walls or whatever. Mm-hmm. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I think CJ said earlier, the fact that they have had 0 cases through the bubble so far is actually incredible. And I think that sets the standard for every other league going forward. So cheers to the NBA for actually doing that, because I know hockey's about to start their season back up and they have their kind of mini bubble.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Not every other league is doing that kind of approach. The NFL won't be doing a bubble like that. The MLB's not doing a bubble like that. So the NBA is very unique. It's good that it's happening and it's proven to be effective so far. But
the WNBA, the NHL, this is other sports, man.
Yeah,
I know, but a lot of other sports aren't going to do that kind of bubble setup where they're just keeping everybody combined in one space. So it's kind of a unique setup.
I think So the bubble, the NBA, WNBA, and NHL, I think they're going to be perfectly fine. They'll definitely finish their seasons. It's more the NFL and MLB that you have to worry about, because
college
even
athletics.
For the Washington Nationals, they're one of their star players, Juan Soto tested positive.
Yep.
Positive for COVID, and their test results are delayed. They're not even getting their test results same day like the NBA.
No one is. Yeah.
Whatnot. So it's for all you know, I don't know. I think the MLB is gonna get shut down, kind of. I hope not, but I think it is.
Oh my God, the Red Sox scored 4 more runs. It's 10-0. It's a 10-0 game. Oh my God.
Moving on.
Why are the Orioles so bad?
Because they're trash, dude. Just get over it. Accept it and get over it. Let's talk about Bull.
Oh, Bull.
Oh, that's a bad man, right? We had 6 blocks the other night.
16 points, 10 rebounds, 6
Yeah.
blocks, something
Yeah,
like
man.
that.
He's going for that triple dub in his first appearance, man.
For real.
People were like, the Nuggets finally unleashed their secret weapon on the league. I don't know, man. Like, so that kind of, I don't know. Let's talk about Bol Bol a little bit. What y'all think about Bol Bol?
He's definitely a slept-on talent in my opinion. He only played like 9 games his freshman year at Oregon because he suffered injury. Then he fell to the second round. Definitely think he could have been like a first round, if not a top 5, top 10 pick, definitely a lottery pick. But because of that injury, I think that like really made him slip. I just hope he puts a little bit of weight on. He's like his dad, super skinny. So it's like he don't put that weight on. I don't know how long his body will be able to last in the NBA, even though he has point guard skills because he can dribble and move around. But honestly, he has a nice skill set for a big man if he can put on a little more weight.
Cody, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about this because I'll probably dive in a little bit more.
About Bol Bol?
Yeah, if I can pull something else up.
I don't got a whole lot to say. I mean, I think that I saw him like CJ said play a little bit at Oregon before the injury and stuff, and I think that he was originally projected to be like a lottery pick at least before everything happened to him. But I mean, I think he's a good talent. I mean, he's in terms of putting on weight, I think he could use some weight, but it's gonna be hard for a guy to put on weight like that with his frame and his build, with how lanky he is. So, but I mean, you got a guy like that, and anytime you got a guy that has that kind of length and reach in this league, I mean, if you use him the correct way, which I think the Nuggets are trying to figure out how to use him in that way with the rest they have, because they're already a pretty deep team, so trying to figure out how to fit him in, I think is what a lot of teams are going to be trying to figure out during this, this kind of this point in time.
Be a scary talent.
Yeah, I think he could. I think he's got good potential, but yeah, I mean, we'll see. You talk about his handles a little bit. I mean, he's definitely got good handles for a guy that's 7'2", but. Yeah.
Which is small compared to his dad.
You're right. Yeah. Was that like 7'5" or something?
7'6".
Was it 7'6"?
Like
yeah.
8-foot wingspan or something.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So.
Trev, you look mad over there. What you got to say about Bol Bol?
I'm not mad. I'm looking through my drive for my basketball society thing because we do a little bit of NBA draft stuff. So I was trying to find my notes from last year, but I think I lost them. But this is, and granted, he played really well. This was what Bol Bol showed us at Oregon. This was nothing new. The fact that he went 44th in the draft was completely like of injury relation. Yeah. He was originally supposed to be a top 4 guy. I talked about it a little bit on my mock draft call last night with a couple others. One guy even said, there was rumors early on before the season that this guy could be the number 1 pick overall. But when you watch the way he plays, the taking the ball up the court, the defensive prowess, the awareness to go up and block shots like that, the three-point ability, that is nothing new. I remember when I watched, this is early college basketball season last year. They were playing Eastern Washington. They were in an out-of-bounds play off the sideline. Bol rushed, to the ball maybe a couple feet to the right of where the guy was inbounding it, caught it, hit a turnaround 3 in the dude's face, right there. It wasn't like he was open. There wasn't any action for him. He just ran straight there, caught it, turned around, put it in. So this is nothing new. This is what Bol Bol was. I think the issue for him is how is he going to – because obviously he can play a little bit of drop ability as a center. He's going to have that rim protection style. But is he going to be able to bang around enough? Is he going to be able to go constantly grab rebounds with some bigger centers? Because he was playing against mostly some more backups, maybe a little bit of smaller guys. How is he – especially with that, mega lineup that they were playing. It could help a little bit. But I think there's still some serious issues. There was worries about how he's going to be able to turn his hips because he's got kind of those high up hips, high waisted hips rather than really low center of gravity with easy turn. So I think there is some serious issues with that still that we still need to see. But this was nothing new. It was great to see him out on the floor. He had a really good game. But this is what he could do, and this is what he showed all along. He was always going to be one of the most polarizing players in the draft last year. It was just who was going to take the chance on him and hope that he wouldn't get hurt. But when he's healthy, he can definitely have an impact on a game like that.
I mean, you talk about him being able to being down the post some of these bigger guys, but he's coming into the league at a point where we're transitioning away from those big body guys anymore. You see the guys that are coming to the league in recent years, they're like the Brandon Ingram type of players. They're skinny frame, they're long, they're lanky. They're able to be agile, they're able to play multiple different positions, stuff like that. effectively still, but the league is getting smaller. There's not a whole lot of bigs. And you see it with some of these smaller lineups that are going out there. Like the Rockets lineup, for example. I know we're gonna get into that in a second, but the Rockets lineup, there's nobody above 6'7". PJ Tucker is a well built, stocky guy and stuff for his height, but I mean but guys like that he can get over the top of easily. So, I mean, I actually think it might benefit him that he's coming into the league at this time because I think that could help him in terms of saving his body to have a long career because he doesn't have to bang around with those big guys in the post anymore.
Yeah, I think you took this from a perspective of actually playing post style, post move basketball. I'm talking just about physical size in general.
Oh, just aggressive play. Even.
Okay, hold up. So I want you to name off to me some of your favorite NBA centers right now.
Actual centers in the league?
Yes, some of your favorite ones.
I mean, Jokic, Embiid.
Okay, Jokic was big before Slim Jokic came out, which he's still a lot bigger than Bull.
No, I know he's still big. Yeah,
I know,
big.
But I'm trying to make my point here. Is just keep going.
Yeah. You got Embiid.
Embiid is huge.
Cat
is also big.
I know these guys are big. Yeah.
I mean, these are still a lot bigger than Bull. So, for you to say something for him being as skinny as he is, he still needs to put on a ton of weight and still.
He does need to put on weight, but you think he's be guarding those kind of guys? I mean, you're definitely.
He's gonna have to.
Why?
He's a center.
Well, they're not. They don't have to play him at the center. They don't have to play him there.
He might play the 4 position.
He might play the 4 or the 5, but he's not going to be able to go out and guard dudes on the perimeter all day long.
But just because he's on the court doesn't mean he has to guard the big body guys down low. He doesn't have to.
He'll be guarding a 4 for the most part.
I wouldn't put him against a center.
He's going to be guarding a 4 or 5.
Okay, that's fine.
What he plays. He's not going to be able to switch on any perimeter.
He could definitely switch on a 3.
If I'm putting him out there though, I'm not putting him defending an Embiid. Embiid lives in the post first of all. I mean, he can shoot outside the outside, but he's a monster when he actually chooses to be in the post when he's within 10
just name a couple other centers for me. Just keep going with it.
Big body guys. I mean,
just in general, just centers.
In the playoffs,
DeAndre Ayton.
DeAndre Ayton, very big guy. Wanted to stick to the post route, even though he just shot his first.
He's a little small though, too.
He's smaller, but he's physically
he's a broad guy. He's a big body guy. He's a built guy.
Drummond big.
Drummond.
Capella's gotten bigger, but still fairly skinny.
Capella, I mean, if you want to talk about, he's not big height wise, but Bam Adebayo. I mean, he's a guy that really bangs in the post.
Very broad shoulders.
Yeah,
kind of a bigger guy. I mean, everyone. Hassan Whiteside with the Trailblazers, DeAndre Jordan. These are all bigger dudes. So for the claim that basketball is getting smaller while still accurate and positionless is kind of, and he does have guard skills, but he is still a big, and he still needs to play like a big and certain. He's going to have to guard bigs at a certain point because every one of those dudes we named, every top center in the league is still kind of big like that.
I agree.
No, I think he could.
You still have centers, but they're not. You don't have throughout your lineup anymore. You don't have two. Most teams don't have 2 guys in their lineup that are starting on a night in, night out basis that are 250 or higher and are 6'11" or taller with that same frame. If you got a guy at 6'11" starting lineup or 6'10", he might be 210 these days or 220 or something like that. Like a KD kind of player. You don't have guys that are as many big guys on the court at once is what I'm saying.
Well, Bull is still a project as is. So for them to say if you're going to play him at the 4, I still kind of even doubt that. I think they'll even go a little bit smaller and maybe run I don't know, maybe they'll have Mason Plumlee play the 4. That's kind of a bigger lineup though, but I doubt because they need to get Bull some minutes in the second unit. But they could also play Michael Porter Jr. at the 4. I think that one makes sense because he's also 6. He is a 3, but he could play the 4 because he's kind of got a little bit bigger of a body for a 3. So I think that you got to think about it. He's going to be playing second unit, third unit. He's going to have some time at center, and he needs to be able to handle that.
Most definitely. I think Cody agrees with that. It's just
I'm just saying. I think
not wrong. The league is getting smaller. If you look at the high school kids, a lot of these kids are they're tall and lanky. They're not big anymore. Who do we have? We have Jalen Green for next year that's going to be in the G League. Even a kid like BJ Boston that's going to Kentucky, or just a lot of these other high schools. Yeah, granted, they're only in high school. They're still filling out. A lot of these kids are really skinny, lanky kids nowadays. They're not just big anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand that. I'm just saying if you're going to play the center position, you still have to have it.
No, I agree. I can agree completely. But you don't have any Shaquille O'Neals or Patrick Ewings or Karl Malones in the league anymore. You gotta really plant your feet in the ground and try to stop them from backing you all the way down.
Yeah. So, there's only a few centers that are really back to the backboard. Everybody can face up now. So he'll probably guard in 4s for the most part until he puts a little weight on.
Even when he does, they still have him guarding 4. So if you can have someone on the court with him that can guard the 5. But so let's transition into that big lineup that the Nuggets threw out there. I love this, man. So I saw the Giant, man. The shortest player they had out there was 6'8". That was 6'7". That was Millsap. So they had Jokic 7 foot. They had Jaren Grant 6'8". You got Bol 7'2". You got Millsap, Paul Millsap at 6'7". You got Miles Plumlee or Mason Plumlee at 6'11" out there. You compare that to like the Rockets starting lineup they have going in. Yeah, 6'3" Westbrook, 6'5" Harden, 6'7", I think that's Devon House, 6'7" Robert Covington, and 6'5" PJ Tucker, who's technically their center in that lineup. That's hilarious. It's hilarious. So, like, how do you feel? Not that I think the Nuggets are going to roll that lineup out there because they have too many skilled guards to not put in that lineup, obviously. But how do you feel about them messing around with that tall lineup?
If used right.
Jokic at the point. I like that.
They were screwing around.
I know it's screwed around, but that leads me into something else. So you've seen that the Sixers came out and they said that Simmons is going to move from running the point to the power forward. You know, LeBron's pretty much been running the point ever since he got to LA, and he's been low-key running the point everywhere he's been, at least, you know, for the last, 7 or 8 years. You know, Doncic is running the point now for Dallas. What do you think about guys who are probably considered forwards or even centers in actuality because of their size and their skill ability running the point and taking the ball off the court?
If we're talking about LeBron can do it. LeBron is a pass first type of person. As much as people try to say, oh, he's a scorer, he really wants to pass the ball. He's always wanted to pass the ball and get his teammates involved since high school. For Ben Simmons, I don't know. Ben Simmons just needs to – I know he hit a 3 today in the scrimmage and the world went crazy all of a sudden. If he could learn how to shoot, Ben Simmons could be LeBron James. Or at least some form of LeBron James. But I don't know. Doncic has basically been the point guard. They might have listed him as the shooting guard, but their offense runs through him. He's been dribbling the ball the whole time. So, I don't know. It doesn't really change. It's mainly Ben Simmons that if he learns how to shoot, he can play power forward because then you can still spread the court and put Embiid in the middle and let the team run.
Yeah, so this is one of those things that's really interesting. Jokic at the point guard, obviously, that's never going to happen. But Jokic,
I want it. But I
want to say two things about the Nuggets. You know, the reason you bring that up is because Jokic has that diverse skill set where he is somehow fascinating as a passer and is able to make all the PNR reads that point guards normally do. So what they'll do is they'll run a 4-5 action where they'll have him being the PNR handler with another big, and it's almost like kind of pick your poison because what you're going to do because he's either going to hit the roll man, he's going to be able to take it himself, or he's going to be able to hit somebody in the opposite corner, which is something that we really haven't seen anymore. So what Denver's done is done a really good job of scheming up the system to where give him opportunities to make these passes. And even on basic sets, they still will get him the ball around the 3-point line, top of the key, even with his back to the basket, and he'll make these crazy passes towards cutters going to the rim. So that's just their way of using their players. I don't know if it's well, I guess it's exactly what we put on the thing with new roles for players, but it's just a great way of scheming up. But the second thing I want to say is the Nuggets is you brought out that big lineup, and if you were to play around with it, and I'm not saying that there was no chance this would ever work, but I saw it on Twitter. A guy that I follow, interact with a little bit. His name's Derek Murray, who works for Babcock Hoops, which is a pretty big scouting firm for the NBA. I guess does their little consulting work. And they have a couple guys that I've met through there, but he said there's this guy in this draft, and I've talked about him a little bit, Cody. Maybe you've heard about him or not. Maybe I talked to you about him, CJ. But his name's Alexei Pokusevsky, and he is 7 feet tall, and he is very thin. But this dude is your stereotypical my player, my career, whatever, big man that you just made to be a guard. This dude has this. I'm telling you, you will see this guy come off of screens, catch off movement shooting ability is fantastic for a big. You've never seen anything like this. He can dribble the ball at the court. He makes unreal passes. There was a highlight that came out the other day. He was crashing through the lane on some sort of I don't know, maybe it was just a basic UCLA cut, just straight to the basket. They fed him. He caught the ball I don't know if you can see, caught the ball with his right hand like that and threw it behind his back to the dude in the opposite short corner, as a little tap pass, vision out of his mind.
Some Penny Hardaway stuff.
We'll have to put out a clip or something on Instagram or something, or just like some highlights from Pokuševski. But he is like the kind of dude. But then you could have Jokic out there doing that with a guy like him, who could also be like a P&P, like a pick and pop guy, or have him like running off ball to the corner, like off action like that. That could be fascinating for Denver to do. And he was like bringing up that whole like big lineup because you'd have a guy like Jerian Grant, Jamal Murray, whoever, like Michael Porter, whatever, some of those like outside guys like spacing it out. And then you could have Pokuševski, who's also 7 feet in there, and then Bol who can space out at 7 feet. And you would just have like an ultimate like death lineup of like, pick your like small guard and then 4 other guys who are all around the 7-foot line style.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just one of those things that I saw, and I was like, wow. Like when Derek said it, I was like, that shit might just be crazy enough to work. Like that was like my exact thing. I was like, I think I responded to him or something. And I was like, man, like I was like, Denver's playing chess while the whole league is playing checkers right now. when he put out that tweet with like a clip of Pokuševski and like the NBA and like the Nuggets style. It's something I want to see. Check out Pokuševski. If you can see, like, he's going to be a freak. He could be the kind of guy that Denver could go after if he falls to Denver. That would be something that we could see.
I mean, we've been kind of in it for the past couple of years. Teams trying like unconventional and non-traditional schemes to try to mix things up and to try to find what works in this new kind of like era we're entering in the NBA and basketball in general. And I love it. I mean, I love the unconventional, having a guy who's not like your 6'2" point guard, bring the ball up the court or run the offense and stuff. I mean, like in football, you want to get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. If you're a team that's lucky like the Ravens or the Chiefs right now, that's your quarterback already. He's getting the ball every single snap, so he's already got it in his hands. But like in the NBA, why not have your playmaker bring the ball up the court if he can? I wouldn't have a guy like Kawhi Leonard do that or anything because he's not really a facilitator as much, but a guy like Doncic, a guy like LeBron James, obviously. Sure, why not even Jokic? I mean, I think it's fun to see. Why not have them bring the ball up the court? Why not have them have why waste a play trying to get them the ball to start the play when you can just have them start it from the jump when you get over the half court line, you get your half court set. So, but no, I think it's great. I'm all for like unconventional stuff. I mean, I'm the way I play basketball. Like I'm a traditional player. Trevor knows this. I'm just
guy who can't dribble with his left hand.
That's just me being shitty at basketball. No, like I'm usually one of the bigger guys in the group that I play with and stuff. So I'm a low post guy, and I'm not the most mobile guy, stuff like that. But I live in the post. But I that being said, I still love to see at the NBA and even at the college level a little bit, seeing things that are different from the past because it shows the growth of the league and it shows the transition they're going through. And I think a little change is good to have, especially when we're, like I said before, getting away from all those big body guys, getting away from guys who are only set to one position or two positions. Whether you're a post player, you're a wing player, guys are playing everywhere these days. I think it's cool to see. So,
yeah, the NBA is all about now. How many positions can you play on the court? So you can play 1, 2, 3, or if you can play 1 through 5, that's perfect. But if you can play, as long as you can guard at least 3 other different positions, if it's 1 through 3 or 3 through 5, you're useful, especially with how the NBA is going, especially when you got a lot more players that are becoming shooters. You're seeing the deep 3 balls being shot. It's not that traditional throw it in the post and then throw it out anymore. It's all about having shooters and spacing the court.
Yeah, if you all check your phone, I just sent you all like a message, like a little tweet of Pokuševski, like a one little clip or whatever from this guy from Stephen, which is another pretty big NBA draft site. But literally off movement 3, catches the ball on the right side wing, like off of a screen, catches it, gets in triple threat, puts in a 1 pump fake, gets a defender caught in the air, takes 1 dribble right, step back at 6'11". Ain't no many dudes doing that, especially
KD.
with the fluidity that he does. KD, yeah, but not many. Not many.
It's not like this guy created the mold, all right?
I want you all to be ready because a couple of years down the line, when you hear this dude's name coming around, I want you all to be like, okay, I know who this guy was. I'm ready for him.
Okay, we'll give you the credit then.
I'm prepared.
I don't want the credit. I didn't find this guy. I'm just saying. I just want you all to be ready for this guy. No, there's plenty of dudes out there that've seen this guy early on. I mean, I just want you all to be ready for this guy when he does make an impact.
We'll be on the lookout for
We're
him.
about to have another – if all the scouts are right, we're about to have another KD in the league anyway once Imani Bates can declare for the draft and whatnot. And he's still growing. So, I don't know, Pokuševski or Sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, man, but I don't. Like the talent's there already.
All right, should we move on
The
to the
Nuggets
MLB?
are so cool, man. The Nuggets just get it right. They draft well. They got Michael Porter Jr. at like
Have
what?
they won a
13?
ring?
Did they get him at 13 or 14 or 12 or something like that?
I thought he's outside
Something
the
like
lottery.
that, but have they got a ring?
When
yet?
he was not yet, but they're still developing.
Oh,
All
okay.
right,
I'm just
they're still getting
wondering.
there. They draft Jokic in the second. They draft Jamal Murray. You know what, like around 10th or something like that. The value that they have been able to find these guys at and draft them themselves is like, I don't want to say it's like Warriors good, but it's comparative in like their ability like to hit success on the players that they have drafted. And then once Michael Porter Jr. comes back fully healthy, like that's another example like of a guy like they have some serious talent. It's whether they can put it all together on the court, but like as a front office drafting, they have done a really good job.
And I agree with you, but they haven't won anything yet. And so like for me, it's like there's a lot of teams in the NBA, especially in the NBA, that you can draft well, but have you won anything?
Oh, I understand completely. I'm solely speaking from a draft perspective. As far as team building goes, I understand that you have to sign free agents, you have to make trades. Like you can't just do it through the draft, but it starts with the draft.
No, yeah, definitely. Just I needed to turn into a championship first.
Yeah. No, I understand that completely. But I'm just saying where they're at now, they might be one of like the more deeper teams in the NBA in terms of like overall talent.
For sure.
Third best team out of the West.
Yeah.
Yep.
So with that being said, who is going to be your dark horse title pick? I think we did this last week, and I joked around and said the Magic. I'm going to probably run with a new team this week. Who do you all have is going to be that for the NBA?
Our dark horse?
Our pick to win the title. I don't know. You can dark horse,
Right.
regular horse, favorite horse.
I would have said the Lakers, but I don't know. I don't think they have enough, honestly, with not having Avery Bradley, not having Rondo. I mean, that's a big hit on your backcourt. I mean, they're obviously both guys. Like Rondo's not in his prime, obviously, anymore, but he's still a very serviceable guy to come in and fill in when LeBron's on the court in terms of facilitating and just being a good, I think, a underrated defensive guard. Bradley is still a good two-way player, and you're going to miss his defense as well. I mean, you bring in J.R. Smith, which helps, but he's not an Avery Bradley on the defensive end.
Anything is possible.
I don't know. I think it's either going to be probably Milwaukee or the Clips. I don't know. I just don't think – I think the Clippers are coming in. They're healthy. Kawhi got all the time in the world that he possibly could have wanted to rest. I think they're healthy. They're coming in. They have a very deep team, deeper than the Lakers. I think they can overcome the Lakers in a 7-game series, and I think it's probably going to be them in Milwaukee. I honestly don't see teams – I don't know. I think the only team that might be able to dethrone Milwaukee out there, maybe the Raptors, if everything goes right for them. I don't see the Celtics doing it. I don't see the Sixers doing it for sure. Sixers can't win away from their home floor, and they choke under pressure. So I think that it's either going to be the Raptors or the Bucks coming out of the East, probably the Bucks, and then I get the Clippers and Clippers v Bucks. I might. I don't know. I think if everyone's healthy on the Clippers, I think the Clippers.
I got you. So dark horse, I'm gonna say the Dallas
dark
Mavericks.
horse.
Dark horse, I'm gonna say Dallas Mavericks. Kristoff, he's had time to recover even more and now get more time with Luka. If everything goes right for them, you never know. They could get hot.
Finney Smith. Finney Smith. We love some Dorian Finney-Smith.
But
Tim Hardaway, man. Go blue. Let's go, Timmy.
Hey, go blue. But like I'm gonna stick to my original preseason pick of the Lakers with LeBron and AD leading the way. Yeah, they lost Avery Bradley and Rondo, but they had players like J.R. Smith, and I think they already had a good core and they had some chemistry together. So I'm banking on LeBron staying hungry for that title. He's chasing the ghost, as he always says, and he's my favorite player. So that's my LeBron bias. I'm a LeBron fan. Always going to stand for LeBron. So call it is what it is. And then out of the East, I'm going to say Milwaukee is going to come out of the East since Toronto doesn't have Kawhi this year. I don't think they're going to win.
They're still good, man. They're still
good. And I think whoever they play, if it's not the Lakers, it's the Clippers, in my opinion. And that series, I feel like, should go 7 games unless something happens where it doesn't. I think that would be a 7-game series in the finals. Trev, what you
If
got?
I'll throw my dark horse. If I had to have a dark horse, I think I'd go Boston Celtics. Actually, I like the group they have there. I like the addition of Kemba. I think if Gordon Hayward can give them something that is similar to the money they're paying him right now. I love Jaylen Brown. I love Jason Tatum and stuff. I think they have a very good supporting cast after that. I think if they had Horford, I'd definitely pick them over Milwaukee, but obviously they don't. I think if I'm picking a dark horse, I think that the Celtics could match up with the Bucks in the series and take them out, but I still think it's gonna be Milwaukee.
Yeah, I think Boston's actually a sneaky good pick for a dark horse. I think they're like probably my second dark horse favorite. My overall favorite, I think this has been no different than you all. I think it's the Clippers, and the Lakers also are right up there as well. But I like the Clippers. I like the addition of Joakim Noah. I think he actually came in, in that first scrimmage game and actually played pretty well. Yeah, he shoots funny, but he does his job. All right. Listen, I get that he shoots funny. You don't need to mock me because he shoots funny. All right. But at one point he was a really good defensive player and still has a little bit left.
Is he like 2-time defensive player of the year?
Yeah, he was one of the elite defensive players in his prime. I don't know how much he really has left. I know he's one of those sign-ons, but with them, Kawhi, PG, Lou Will. Oh, Lou Will. Did something happen to Lou Will? Didn't it?
He's off the campus. No, he's off the campus.
Okay, no, I thought it was Harrell. Harrell left.
No, it was Williams. Harrell's still there.
All right. Well, still,
he might come back. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is.
I like Zubac. I like Lander Shamet. I think they have a really good roster.
Pat Bev
and Pat Bev. They have Shamet, right? They have Shamet, correct?
Yeah, they still have him. Yeah.
Okay.
And then
he got traded. He got traded from the Sixers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got that. I was about to say, did he get traded to Philly? I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, I think for a dark horse pick, this is going to hurt me to say, but I think I'm going to go Miami Heat. It realistically, if you look at the roster for the Miami Heat and who they have right now, they don't have anybody missing, which is, a plus. I think the issue could be the lack of overall star power for them, but they could finish anywhere, from what? I think it was third through the sixth. But if we're going through the roster, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Jay Crowder, Dragic, Iguodala, Derrick Jones Jr.
Sharpshooter.
I'm going to skip over Udonis Haslem and Solomon Hill.
Oh, come on.
Hey, all right. So
Elio Olynyk, Kendrick Nunn, Myers Leonard. And then dudes like KZ Okpala and Chris Silva and a couple two-ways. But look at those.
Quick correction, real quick, Trevor. So Lou Williams, Pat Bev, and Montrezl
Harrell
have all left.
Expected to return now.
Emergency, but expected to return.
They're all supposed to return. It wasn't COVID related.
Harrell left to go get him some. That's what we did. That's what we know. He was trying to get girls in.
You expect that from a Louisville. You expect that from a Louisville grad, man.
He was trying to sneak a girl into the bubble.
Louisville grad. That's all he knows, man.
Is that who snitched? Is Chris Paul who snitched on all of them?
I hope, man.
Ooh.
Good for you. I'd snitch. I ain't no Cardinal fan. Think about that life.
You all saw that tweet, right? That girl put out, I've already been invited, and she blurted, it was Montrezl Harrell. Yeah. Yeah, we know what he's doing. We know, and it's not going to be the only one. Players are going to try to get some things in there, whether it's food, women, whatever. They're going to try.
What is it? Rashawn Holmes had to quarantine because he went past the
That's
border.
A BG grad right there.
Yeah, but seriously, going back to this Miami Heat roster, I know it's really funny that we just took a moment to talk about Montrezl Harrell and players being stupid, but you look at this roster, Bam Adebayo is a budding star. Jimmy Butler is a superstar. Tyler Hero has really had a solid rookie season. Duncan Robinson was on pace to have a 303-point season or something ridiculous. But yeah, was just probably solidifying himself as one of the best shooters. Jay Crowder has somewhat playoff experience. Goran Dragic is not really what he was, but still a serviceable backup. Andre Iguodala has that championship leadership experience. Eric Spoelstra has that championship experience, coach under. And then you look at guys like Kelly Olynyk has playoff experience. Myers Leonard has a little bit of playoff experience. And then Kendrick Nunn also had a pretty good rookie year.
OU.
Well. Yeah, there you go. I'm throwing out with OU.
Small little Oakland University.
Yeah, but they have a pretty deep roster, and I think if they could really pull it together, without having anybody new, maybe getting right back into the flow of things, they were kind of a team that was are they going to put it all together? When they kind of realized they were probably better than what they initially thought they were going to be. with like, Nunn's rise and Heroes, playing above expectation. They probably had to figure out some like chemistry thing, who's going to play what minutes. But I think this is a team that like could surprise some people. They may not win. I kind of want to see them win, but I feel like they could at the very least do some damage like when the playoffs actually start.
They can make it to the conference finals, depending on how the seeding looks. I would have to look at it, but depending on how that is, they could make it to the finals. There's a possibility, but I just want to correct something. Jimmy Butler is not a superstar. He's a star.
He's not that guy to lead them. He's not that guy to lead them.
Listen,
I think he can lead them.
Listen,
not to a title.
Listen,
if he's Butler,
Jimmy Butler in a practice said you balled out with the third team and beat the first string's ass, beat the second string's ass, and make sure we bleep this on the third one. And I'm doing a straight up quote. Said, "Y'all motherfuckers need me." While looking at the owners and the front office.
What does that tell you? What does that tell you? It tells you they have issues. It tells you if his third string, him with the third string is beating the crap out of the first and second string, that tells you they had a championship team. I'm sorry.
That's the first string with Karl Anthony Towns, who's a superstar.
You talking about the Timberwolves or the Heat?
Everybody's not a superstar.
This is with the Timberwolves.
Oh, I thought you talking about with the Heat.
This is with the Timberwolves.
I thought about with the Heat. I'm like, that's a problem if that's on the Heat. Okay. All right, I thought you were talking about with the Heat. I'm like, ooh, that's no good.
Everybody a superstar, though. He's a star.
He's a superstar.
He's not
you
a
just don't want to admit it. You don't want to admit it.
He's
good.
He is not.
He's a really good basketball player.
Superstars are guys who can lead a team
only 5
to the promised land.
In my opinion, LeBron, KD,
Lord help me,
Kawhi, Steph, and I don't know about the fifth.
Oh, you better say who I think you better. How do you not say it? How do you not say it?
Who?
What do you mean who?
Who?
The Greek Freak.
Oh, yeah, the Greek Freak.
Oh, yeah, the MVP. Oh, yeah, that guy, yeah.
I'm a LeBron fan. I don't care about the Greek Freak. I'm sorry.
It doesn't matter. If you're an NBA fan, you're talking about your superstar.
No, I am. I'm sorry. I forgot. Sorry, Greek. No disrespect.
Sorry, Greek.
Jimmy's a superstar. I don't want to hear it.
Jimmy's, I don't even care about superstar star. He's not a guy that can lead this team by himself. This team is literally Jimmy Butler and then Bam Adebayo, and then everybody is just kind of like finding their way in this league still. I mean, you don't have guys that are.
It doesn't have to be by himself. Like, he has Bam, and they have all the right pieces.
We're talking about all these other teams that have shots to win the title, and these guys are all established players. You guys all have a running mate with them. Like Clippers, it's Kawhi and PG. Lakers, it's AD and LeBron. Bucks, I know Middleton's not a superstar. I barely consider him a star, but he's made better because of Giannis's presence on the court, and they have a good supporting cast. You know, I mean, you got the Celtics, you got Kemba, and you got Jason Tatum. You know, on the Raptors, you got Lowry, you got Siakam. I like Bam Adebayo, but he's not one of those guys that can just go out and get you 20, 25 points a game whenever he feels like it. He's a good player.
Will be.
Maybe next year. He's a good player. I like Bam Adebayo. I love his work ethic. I love his story, too. His background is really, really, actually really fantastic to learn about where he came up from. I just don't think the Heat got it. They need somebody else there that's got to help Butler out. Not just a bunch of guys who are good players, all of them. Like all the guys you listed off, good players, but they need somebody there that can be Jimmy Butler-esque, if not better. In my opinion.
I don't know, man. The take I looked at him, I saw Jimmy Butler, who you all can say he's not a superstar.
I like
That's fine.
Jimmy Butler. He's one of the best. He's one of the best two-way players in the game.
Yes,
one of the best two-way players we've had in a while.
Exactly, and I think people forget how important a two-way player like that is. But I think if you look at them, you look at Eric Spoelstra, who's coached in how many championships. You look at Iguodala, who's played in how many championships. And you look
was it Spoelstra though? I'm sorry. I believe Spoelstra's a good coach. What he's doing with this team, I believe he's a good coach. But was that Spoelstra? You don't know, but I'm hitting you with the Bradley Beal look right now. Was that Spoelstra? Spoelstra
did have a part in it, yes. I don't care what you say. I don't care how good that team is. You have to still have someone have good coaching to get there.
Okay.
You still have to. You have to. It's every sport there has to be good coaching to get you there.
Not a little bit to do, maybe like that much to do with LeBron and
yes, they had the big three. I get that, but coaches,
one of the best trios in the history of the game.
You have to manage that.
Mm.
Did you ever hear LeBron say anything bad about like Spoelstra?
No.
He did try to get him fired though. Let's not forget he tried to get him fired.
It was like season 1 or 2?
To get him fired.
Yeah.
Was it when they lost to the Mavs in like the first season when they were all trying to form together?
I think it was the. Ooh. Yeah.
I'm just saying, man. Any team LeBron's been on, he has run the show. It's not been that coach.
I understand that LeBron runs the show. I'm not trying to disprove that. I'm just saying that is experience, regardless of whether you think about it. He has experience playing there. He knows how to handle minutes in situations like that. He knows how players are feeling, and he's one of the most respected coaches in the game. Iguodala is like probably the perfect veteran you could have on your roster for a national or for a championship run.
Yeah.
And then you have all the players like Olynyk, like Myers Leonard, like Jay Crowder, who have all had playoff experience.
If you need the other team's star player to go down, just call up Olynyk. He'll bust him right up.
I'm just saying, like, if you look at that situation, they have players. They have players who have been in these situations before. They have dudes that can talk to the rookies who are the younger players who are in their first real playoff experience and keep them under control. I think that's a very valuable asset to have going forward. Yes, they don't have star power or superstar power like you all would say. I understand that is an issue, but that's why they're a dark horse contender. I never said they were going to be that's just a team I thought
you're right.
Put it all together.
We were y'all
really
went
really in on me. I've been really nice this whole episode.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, you called Jimmy Butler a superstar.
You just triggered CJ with the superstar.
Players.
He is.
Best
two-way
player.
Put value in defense, man. You don't have to score 30 points every game to be a superstar. Sometimes you got to lock some people down.
I'm not saying that, and I love Jimmy Butler, but to say superstar, I think that term just gets thrown out there so much in the NBA nowadays. All because somebody's an all-star doesn't mean they're a superstar. I just hold superstar to a little bit of a higher standard.
All right, let's get off his back. Let him give his actual pick.
I already did. I said it was the Clippers.
Clippers? Okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can leave it there. Let's get on to the MLB. Which, by the way, in the MLB, I swear they.
Am I hosting or are you hosting?
If you want, go ahead.
You just took over. I'll let you do it. I said before we started recording, you can start hosting.
I could take us to the MLB.
Real quick. Do we have a time? Do we have a timer? How long have we been on this thing?
About an hour.
I like how we said we were going to cut it down, and here we are.
We can still cut it down. We don't have to
have hour mark. Still got a couple things to talk about.
We don't have to have every single conversation in this. We don't have to. We can cut out the boring parts and the parts where we're rambling. But anyway, let's move on to the MLB. So first of all, let's talk about the new rules they've implemented so far for this 60-game schedule they're on here. So some of those rules are designated hitter for all the teams around the league, which is going to be interesting for, obviously, the National League teams who are not used to that. It's a different strategy they have to work on. For the playoffs, instead of having a 10-team format like usual years, they have a 16-team playoff format, so 8 teams from each league. You have your 3 division winners, you have your 2 wild cards, and then the next 3 best records, I believe it is, will be the final 3 spots in each league. And then extra innings, this is something that they've implemented in the minors. Last year was the first year of it. And the extra innings, once you get into the extra innings, every team that comes to the plate will start with a runner on second base. And how that will work is whoever takes the plate, the runner or the player in the order of the lineup that preceded that player the previous inning will be on second base to start that inning to make the game go a little bit faster. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll start off because I work for a minor league baseball team in Toledo Mud Hens, and I saw that rule, sticking with the extra innings rule, come into effect last year, and I thought it was a great idea. I love baseball. I love the feeling of it, just being out there on a summer night with, your bros or your parents. I remember going to ball games with my dad when I was younger, just being out there watching just America's pastime. And the more people say America's pastime, the more people realizing it is the pastime, unfortunately. But I still love the game, but I do think it helps things move along a little bit. I mean, extra innings is exciting as it is, but when you add the extra element of, having a guy in scoring position to start you off, it's extra pressure on the pitchers, but it does add an extra excitement to the game, I think. So I think it's cool that they're going to try it out in the bigs. I know they've been trying to preserve the bigs as much as possible, but yeah, that being said, I'll pass it on to you guys. Whoever wants to go.
What are we going to talk about, huh?
What do you think of the rules?
The rules?
Yeah, what do you think about the rules? What do you think about, the playoffs?
I definitely finally like that there's going to be a DH on both sides. I thought for the longest now, this is very stupid to watch a pitcher, unless it's like Mad Dog or what is it, Mad Bum? Yeah, sorry. Madison Bumgarner hitting because he can actually hit dingers. But yeah, I really – because I've never really wanted to just see a pitcher hit. They can't hit. So I'm cool with that rule. Definitely going to see – that's going to be fun to see how, the NL adjusts to that. And then that extra innings rule, I think isn't that kind of something that Little League does? I'm not. I don't remember. We never did it in my Little League when I played, but I feel like that's like a newer thing for Little League baseball. So we'll see. Not sure how much that's gonna work or not work.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just now getting back into baseball. The Orioles have been pretty bad for a while, so I just haven't really had like an interest in it. But I do want to give an update. Baltimore did score. They're down 12, but they did score. So I feel like that's
12. Good lord, man.
I
Listen,
wish
we
they
know
put a
where.
mercy rule in.
Hey, come on now, chill out. We got two high draft picks waiting in the wings. We'll be okay eventually. I think. I don't know. We're not good, but
You realize it takes years for some of those guys to even reach the majors, right?
well, Rushman is already like 23 or something or 22, so he's
It's not every day that those guys, even if they're a high draft pick, get to the league right away. So.
He's a number 1 overall pick. He's already on the roster.
I mean, good. More power to him, man. But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't mean they're gonna.
Listen, I know where we're at. All right, I've dealt with 2 years of really bad play. All right, I know
You
when
got,
we
you got your O's on lock. I got you.
Yeah, I got to deal with the Tigers, but
that's
whatever. Hey, is Hunter Green on the roster for you guys, or is he in the minors still?
I think he said so. We have talking about the Reds, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on. I think he is on. They have a 30-man roster, and then they have another 30-man roster off-site in Cincinnati area. I think he's a part of that group.
Okay.
From what I know, when I was listening to the broadcast today.
I was looking forward to him, but then I finally followed him on Instagram and found out he's truly only committing to pitching, and I really wanted to see him be like Ohtani-san and pitch and hit, but I guess
we
that's
still don't know
just
what he
not
can
gonna
do
happen.
yet. We still really haven't seen his full potential with the Angels because he was injured all last year.
He's gotten a lot better though now.
Yeah, I'm excited to see him, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like these rules. Like I said, the extra inning rule was kind of implemented last year, and I think it worked pretty well in the minors from what I saw. And then I like the extended playoff format. I think gives teams even more of a shot. I mean, I think this 60-game schedule already kind of benefits the teams that wouldn't be considered contenders because, I mean, the longer your season is, the more your weaknesses are exposed over that time period. So having this shortened schedule, I mean, Tigers last year, for example, they had there were 2 games that are over 500 at the end of April, and then they finished with 47 wins and 114 losses. So it'll benefit teams that usually start hot or just get hot in general in the early going. So I'm kind of excited to see that mix up instead of just seeing your usual teams out in front. So also, there are some big names that have decided to sit out, that have opted to not play this season for whatever reasons, whether it's because of COVID-19, or just how things are going with the new formatting of the MLB season. Biggest name probably would be David Price. Guys like Nick Markakis for the Braves. He's a solid outfielder for them. Buster Posey as well. Yeah, that's a big hit for the Giants. But the Giants are really going to be competing this year. Are you guys okay with players deciding to try to opt out this year?
This is a weird time that we're in. So, honestly, I can respect any player that chooses to sit out, especially this year with everything that's going on. Some of the players said they had wives are pregnant, and so that puts their families at high risk. They have younger kids, so I respect it and everything. Biggest thing out of some of these players not sitting out, or the player that I was a little worried about though was probably the best player in baseball right now, Mike Trout. I know he announced right before, 2 days before opening day, he was going to be playing, but I know there was still some concern that he wasn't even going to play. So to have him is huge in this little 60-game sprint, as the MLB's calling it.
I mean,
I'm just getting back into this stuff. Who are these guys?
I feel like the box right now, but no. No, I think what's interesting to me is they decided to opt out for the whole season. I feel like there could be some sort of way, because I know baseball, what is it, 60 games? Are they playing 60?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there could be some sort of way where they leave for a while, come back, maybe if they have a change of heart about how it's going or whatever. Because I know the NBA kind of has you can leave the bubble, come back or whatever. But I feel like if the MLB had some sort of plan in place for that, it could be a little bit interesting. Because there's nothing from saying players like Buster Posey, a David Price, or whoever at this point, that's not playing may see their team have some like unprecedented success and like have a change of heart and want to go back into that. I know they're thinking about their families or whatever, and it could be vice versa. You could see some players be like, okay, well, we're not winning here. Like, you know, I know their rosters are bigger, so maybe a couple players are like, all right, like I've had it a little bit. Like I want to, you know, keep my family safe. Maybe there's a couple more cases on the rise. But that's kind of thing is I would like to see like how that would kind of be. Is it more of just like, are you out or in and out, or just like, can you come and go as you please? That's kind of where I want to see this go.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think like I don't think you can tell people how to, you know, manage their personal lives during this entire thing. If they don't feel comfortable playing, I don't think you should be forced to play. I mean, I know there could be, repercussions with your pay and everything if you're not going to actually play in your season and stuff. But, you know, I think that if you ultimately make the decision, I know baseball was talking about loosening things up as their season's going on, seeing how everything goes with COVID. They're talking about they have no fans right now. But they talked about potentially moving to 20% capacity in their stadiums as we move through the season, seeing how everything progresses and seeing if their players and their staff are safe, and then potentially allowing fans to come in. But yeah, I mean, I think if you want to sit out, if that's a choice you want to make for yourself, and that's something you should have the right to make, especially during this time. So talking power rankings now, teams that are favored to come out on top in this 60-game extravaganza. We have teams like the Dodgers and the Yankees, obviously two teams that are loaded, that are taking over the rankings. Those teams are both heavily favored teams at 7-2 to win the World Series. Got teams like the Rays and the Astros following up, two teams that were there last year in the mix of things. Same with the Twins. So looking at all these, you know, the rankings and stuff like that, I'm sure you guys had a chance to look at them. Who do you guys think have the best opportunity to come out and take advantage of the 60-game schedule and go on and win the World Series?
Trevor, you want to go or you want me to go? We know you don't like baseball.
Oh, not
it's
like
he doesn't like baseball. It's just it's hard to stay in it when you got a team like, you know, your lowly O's.
I'm just messing with you.
When I was like little, I could play like the show, and I could play like was it 2K5? 2K5, 2005. I don't know. It was like the game like I used to play all the time. It was easy because you could play around on it, and you like knew who everybody was, and you knew who was good and stuff like that. But now that like, you know, Xbox decided to do their thing, there's not really many like big time baseball games out there for Xbox, so it's tougher for me to really like follow and know like who the superstars are of like each team and stuff. You know the big names and stuff, but, like, and you know some names like I know like obviously if you want to make fun of the Orioles, like yeah, you go right ahead. They're not the best team in the world, but like I know a couple players on that. But like when they traded their whole roster, it's like okay, like now I don't know what's going on.
Right.
But the Dodgers are good, right? They still have Kershaw. I know Price is sitting out, but they got like what, Jock Peterson, Bellinger, and Mookie Betts.
Yeah, they got Betts. Max Muncy. I mean, they're a super. I think they're one of the deepest teams. You know, you focus on guys like Bellinger, Betts, you know, Pedersen, stuff like that. You got Seager. They're really deep team. Justin Turner.
All right, I'm gonna go with the Dodgers. The Dodgers seem like the pick. Listen, there's no stake in this, all right. But if the Dodgers win, I want you all to know, like, I don't know, like if the Dodgers win, y'all like can buy me like a McDonald's McChicken or something.
We'll buy a McChicken. I'll buy you a McChicken if the Dodgers pull it out.
You can buy me a chicken dinner, a McDonald's chicken dinner. Winner, chicken dinner if the Dodgers get it.
Oh my gosh!
All right, CJ. Out of the AL.
I have to pick a team out of the AL
Yankees.
Orioles. I picked the Orioles. We're gonna be riding.
He's all about the dark horses today, man. He's all about the dark horses.
Who we get? Hanser Alberto last year. We picked him up. He was from Texas, and last year he batted like 300. So Hanser Alberto.
How many games?
He started for us. He played a lot.
They bring him up in September when the season was lost.
Hey, come on, man. He had 500 something at bats.
500 at bats?
500.
Really? Okay.
550 at bats. Batted 300. Super good season. So I'm gonna go with the Orioles. You are my dark horse. It is 59 games because I'm assuming we're not coming back from that 12-run deficit we're in right now. So maybe we can turn it around. Maybe we can get hot, and you know they say teams kind of cool off a little bit through the season. So maybe with 60 games we get hot at the right time. You know who? Maybe it is the Orioles. There's 16 teams in the playoffs, so that's better odds
More
for
than
us,
half-
right?
More than half the league is gonna make the playoffs.
We're rolling with it. I got the jersey on. It's go time. Bird
Hey,
gang.
Good old
Let's
Manny
go
Machado.
Orioles, I guess.
Manny Machado. Yeah, my Manny Machado jersey.
All right,
R.I.P.
CJ.
So I'm gonna go with Dodgers and Twins, and I'm gonna pick Twins to win the World Series. They just hit dingers. I love the.
They
I
just
love the
hit
long ball.
He
dingers,
loves
man.
dingers.
I love the long ball. And so,
This man loves dingers.
Twins do have the easiest schedule in baseball, by the way. So
yeah, definitely gonna go with the Twins. And then my dark horses, the Phillies.
Tigers.
And I'm gonna
Tigers.
go with
Tigers.
Sorry, no.
Ah!
I'm going with the Angels. I'm going with the Angels. I'm not even sure if they're really going to be considered a dark horse, but
because of the season they had last year.
Yeah, I'm going to pick them only because I like Mike Trout and I like Ohtani-san. So, yeah.
Box, who you got?
Marlins.
The box.
Hey, they got some nice uniforms.
Is there any rationale to that, or is it just
They
the
got
Marlins?
one nice ballpark. They have one nice ballpark.
Let's see.
They got Marlins, man.
Scroll down. I like their logo.
He likes the logo.
I like
All
the
right, the
logo.
Marlins.
There we go.
Boy. I gotta go with the Dodgers. I just Kershaw's health concerns me. But
The Dodgers picks seem pretty good by me right now. Let's go.
They're kind of on an island by themselves in the NL. But I mean I like the Dodgers. Like I said, Kershaw's health has been an issue for years now. But I mean I think that their lineup is just potent, man. I mean, I watched them last night. They didn't exactly put on a show last night. Like I think Kiki Hernandez had drove in 5 of their 8 runs or something like that. But like like I said, Betts, Bellinger, Muncy, Pedersen. Pedersen was batting the 7 hole last night. The guy hit like 30-something home runs last year. He doesn't hit for great average, but Justin Turner, Corey Seager, who's injured at the end of last year, and a lot of people forgot about. He's gonna be back there in the infield. I think having a healthy bullpen is gonna go a long ways for them too, because Kenley Jensen's kind of slipped off in the past couple of years. He gave up I think 22 home runs in the past 2 seasons, which is not what you want from your closer. But honestly, I think that if they can keep their pitching healthy and keep improving with it, I know Buehler is a really good young guy they have that was filling in for Kershaw last year.
Is that Walker Buehler?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I know a guy.
Yeah. He's damn good, man. He's really good. So I think it's a really good 1-2 punch for them. And we all know that, well, maybe not Trevor knows this, but win the playoffs, you got to have good pitching. So I think that if you got a good 1-2 punch, you want to have 3, but if you have a good 1-2 punch, it goes a long way. The AL, I'm going to go with everyone's least favorite team. I think the Astros still.
No,
I still think
they won't. There's no fans. There's no fans, so nobody can bang on the trash cans.
No, man. Dude, they're still loaded. Even with losing Garrett Cole, they are still a loaded team. I mean, Verlander won the Cy Young last year. He shouldn't have, but he won over Cole. You still got Greinke, who will have for a full season. McCullers. I mean, I think that the rotation is still good without Cole. And they're in the same boat as, honestly, the Yankees and the Dodgers. Their lineup is just, they got the reigning, MVP with Bregman, Altuve, Correa, Gurriel, Alvarez, Springer, and there's still guys I didn't even name that are just absolute monsters. The guys that can hit at least 20 home runs even. So, playing in that ballpark still, I love that ballpark too. But, I mean, I think that I honestly think the Astros are going to come out. I don't see the Yankees doing it because I just don't think they can stay healthy.
Have you ever been to the Houston ballpark?
I want to.
All right, you said I love it like you've been there. I didn't
No, I love it. I love watching on TV and everything. I love the layout of it and stuff. I love that ballpark.
Man loves it on 2K.
I do love on 2K, man.
There it is. Don't you lie to me. I know your tendencies. This man's playing 2K.
You hit to that hill in the back corner, which you took the hill out, unfortunately. But yeah, man, you hit the hill in the back. That's an easy triple. Love it. But no, I love that ballpark.
Are the Nationals still good? They still have Strasburg, right?
They're a team I could see being a dark horse. Yeah. Again, like CJ mentioned earlier, not having Juan Soto is going to hurt them a bit. That's their best bat in that lineup, and Ryan Zimmerman actually is sitting out too. He's one of those guys that's sitting out. That's going to hurt them too. So is their catcher Wellington Castillo. So I mean, I wouldn't count them out. I think they'll make the playoffs, but we'll see. But they're a team that just got hot at the right time. last year too. They weren't really expected to make a whole lot of noise and go all the way to win it too. But that's just baseball.
All right.
So,
a little off topic.
Ooh.
Cody, do you think JV will be a Hall of Famer and go to Cooperstown and be respected if he never wins a World Series game?
Verlander?
Yep. He's never won. He's never won as a World Series starter. He's got a ring. He doesn't have a win though.
No, I don't. No. I think he's on IMAX shoe, and that's actually a conversation I want to have in later podcasts. But that topic, we'll talk about it.
It was something I heard, and I was just curious.
I think with his resume, even if he didn't win a World Series, with his resume in the regular season, what he's done in his career accolades, you can't keep him out of it. So Dodgers and Astros, what I got, I'd probably pick. I want to say the Dodgers, but they choke. They're known for choking, but I'm picking that matchup. My dark horse, which I've been waiting to get to, is right here, baby.
Cut the feed.
My red legs. My red legs. My red legs, baby. Okay, so not just because they're my team, man, but they legit, I think, can make some noise this year. In the initial power rankings that came out, they're the only team in the top 15 that had a losing record from the previous season. I think, honestly, they're 20-1 favorites to win. It's nothing special, but I think that they could make some noise, at least get to the playoffs, because they haven't been there since 2013. But the issues they had last year were putting up runs on the board. They hit a lot of home runs. They set a club record for home runs last year, but they were pretty much just solo shots. They had nobody on in front of them. But the ballpark they're in, I mean, it's a Great American launching pad. It's one of the best spots to hit home runs in the entire league. But they still were 12th in the NL last year in scoring runs. But I think adding Moustakas, who had 35 bombs last year, adding Castellanos, who was like second in the league last year with like 58 doubles, former Tiger. He had 27 bombs last year. And then here's a nice thing. The Reds were the last team in Major League Baseball to not have signed a Japanese player to their roster. And they finally did that this year. Shogo Akiyama. They brought him in. Last 5 seasons, he averaged like 321 and had like an on-base percentage of like, I think close to 400 over the last 5 seasons in Japan. So he's just a get-on-base guy, which is what they needed, bring in the power that they brought in. They have a really promising starting rotation. That I can talk about these guys all day, but I honestly think that, this team, if the pitching is what everybody thinks it will be and what I think it will be, Sonny Gray, Luis Castillo, Trevor Bauer, that 3 there, I think could be really dangerous in the postseason if they get there. If their bats actually come and give them some support, I think this team could be a real contender in the NL. I'm not saying win it all, but I think they could be a real contender for sure. I'm finally happy to say that after all these years. It's been a while.
All right. Well, it seems like Cody's happy to talk about baseball for a while, and I'm sorry to cut you short of that. I'm sorry to cut you short on that, but we're gonna go with a little bit of news involving the NHL. Seattle, I talked about a little bit earlier, finally got their new team name. They are the Seattle Kraken, and I want to know what you all think of this. I want to know what your opinions are. Do you like the Kraken logo? Do you like that Seattle's getting a hockey team? Is there any implications on something else that may happen in Seattle because of this?
I still want the Supersonics to come back, but that's different.
Bring them back.
I want them back. So it's kind of funny. I read somewhere that the Kraken, people did research on what the Kraken is, and it's obviously it's like a mythical creature and everything, but its origins were said to be between like Greenland and Norway, which is in what ocean?
The Icelandic.
The Icelandic. Sure, the Icelandic. Yeah, the Atlantic Ocean.
God, sending us
What ocean? What ocean is near Seattle?
The Pacific, obvious.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. You're in different oceans, man. Like it's just kind of like
school hasn't started.
It was either that or the sockeye.
September.
I like the sockeye, but I actually really love their logo. I've actually heard like a lot of people shaming their logo, but I love that logo. I think it's one of the best logos I've seen in recent memory. I love it, dude. You got the tentacle coming up through the S. You got the I in the middle there. I like that, man. I love that logo. I don't know why people are shaming it, man.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. The jerseys I don't really care for that much, but I love that logo. I like the name. I like Kraken. It doesn't. I guess it doesn't fit.
Crack-a-lackin'.
People get mad at it because it has nothing to do with like their geographical location. I'm like, not every team's name does. So I don't want to get all on it, but I like it. I think it's cool, and I'm tired of people hating on Seattle, man. I don't know what Seattle did to lose everything in the sports world, man. They still got the Seahawks and all that, but I mean, the Mariners, even though they're down. But
we're about to have a fun conversation.
What?
Hey, what's up?
I'm gonna wait for CJ to finish up though.
All
Okay.
right. So
All right.
for me, I actually like Cody, like you said, I love the announcement. I just love like everything that they did to announce.
You see the video on Twitter?
Yeah, I seen
That
the
thing was
video.
sick.
So
That was sick.
like, me being part of the creative community with graphic designers, videographers, everybody.
My mouth was watering from video perspective.
Yeah,
I loved it, man.
like Twitter for like the creative community just was like in love. They were like, this is like the best thing in the world. I love the jerseys myself, and I only watch hockey when the Red Wings are good, and the Red Wings haven't
Amen.
really been good. So, and I was even happy to see this announcement and everything. So, I love it, and I have no complaints.
I'm just pro Seattle when it comes to sports, man. I want the Supersonics back.
I wouldn't mind living out there. It just rains too much.
I want
I
it back.
hear.
Hey, what?
It just rains too much out there, from what I hear.
Whatever, man. I can live with it.
Yeah.
All right, Trevor, lay some wisdom on us.
I just didn't like the way you say that they took you want sports back in Seattle, because here's the situation that Seattle is now in. They have a hockey team, so NHL. They have the Mariners, which is the MLB.
Yep.
They have the Sounders, which is soccer, and they also have the Seahawks in football. Soccer is different on the West Coast. It's different out there in Seattle. It's huge.
Out west it is, yeah.
But
they got the Storm. Don't forget, shout out the women's sport.
Yes, the Storm as well. So, what's the one sport they're missing?
Just the NBA.
It's just the NBA. So sports is there, and as far
I'm
as
just
it
mad
comes,
about the NBA, man. I'm mad about them taking away.
Let me finish off what I'm saying here. In order for the Kraken to play, they had to have a stadium. So they are rebuilding the old Sonic Stadium, which, if you remember, was a big time issue, which led to the Thunder, like the forming of the Thunder. Is when they switched owners, they wanted a new stadium, and Seattle wasn't going to budge.
The guy wanted to move too. He just wanted to move.
So now they have, yeah, that's true. But now they have Climate Pledge Arena, and they have all these other things. They have a stadium that's available. We're going to see an NBA team in Seattle sooner rather than later. They already have all the other big sports. It's going to happen, and it could happen pretty soon if you think about it. I don't want this to happen, but I feel like if it could, if the T-Wolves get sold to the right ownership group.
Oh, no.
I know. I don't want to see them leave Minnesota either, but they're in the West. They're already in the Western Conference. I feel like that could be a logical spot for them to move if the ownership group wanted to move them.
I'd be down for an expansion team.
I would say move the Grizzlies to the East and then just add Seattle, and it'll be uneven until you get another team. But
Grizzlies should be in the East.
I don't know. Like, if you really look at the map, it never has made any sense that Memphis plays in the West.
Same with New Orleans.
Well, they're more west than they are.
They're a little more west,
Memphis
yes,
is.
but
It's never made any sense why Memphis is.
The point I'm trying to get across is that, like, the Supersonics, obviously I think there's going to be some sort of issue coming back because, like, with like the credit history that the Hornets had when they went back into Charlotte. But I think this is a huge step that people aren't talking about for Seattle getting a basketball team. I mean, this is now pretty much every other sport has a major team there, and now they have a brand new stadium that's going to look attractive to potential like owners. So I think this is huge. If you are one that wants to see the Supersonics back, I don't think there's really anybody on this earth that doesn't. I think this is a huge step for them. Yeah. And that being said, I really kind of came up with this name, but let's go 5 minutes in the hot box with the box.
Ooh.
That's good.
With the box.
I like it.
What do you got for us?
In entertainment news, Joe Rogan is now moving to Texas from his old home in California.
And
do you know how good this is?
How good is that?
Well, it means we're gonna have a good chance of getting the third sequel in the Joe Rogan Alex Jones podcast, the greatest podcast I've ever heard.
Have any of y'all seen this? I haven't seen this at all. So
I've gone to prime you on this.
Okay.
There are 2 episodes right now, and they are just beautiful. He goes over. I mean, you don't really need to know about any of the political stuff. I mean, it's boring. But he talks about human-animal hybrids for like 30 minutes. He's talked about how he's been knocked out by his friends, and he's experienced entire lives while he's knocked out.
Entire lives while knocked out?
he said, I'm paraphrasing, he's lived a life where he was being attacked by a black knight, and he even provided the sounds of it. He would go, the Black Knight would come and charge me, and go, and he'd do that for like 5 minutes, just making some sounds. They've talked about DMT, blood cults, vampires, and secret elves living in the fourth dimension. And
Wait, what?
yes. Both episodes
man.
equal out to about 8 hours long together. And if you ever needed something perfect to listen to a million times at work, those are the 2 episodes right there.
This is what you and the interns are doing upstairs?
What?
This is what you and the interns and in the department are doing upstairs?
Nah,
No.
we're putting Jeremy as a producer, not an intern.
No.
No, he's talking about at the Rock.
Oh.
I'm at Toledo.
Oh, okay.
Your alma mater that you never reference or mention because you're ashamed of it for some reason.
Yeah, you're ashamed.